You are live. Like I needed that reminder. I'm alive, baby. Kick ass alive. Coming to you. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, Facebook land, YouTube land. It is I, your No Excuses coach, Christopher Rausch, the podcaster of the Raw and Unscripted show, the this, the that, coming to you with a new video series I'm going to start officially now. And that news video series, as you can tell by the title, is called Raw Truth with Christopher Rausch. And it's something that I've been toying with in my mind for quite some time. And to be honest with you, I'm constantly doing work on myself through my experiences in life and figuring out what it is that we need to do to get to the next level. And that's what I do in my coaching is I figure if I've gone through it, then I can get you through it too. Come along, let's figure it out. And, you know, when you think about the experiences that we have and the moments that we have, you know, it's just, it brings together the fact that we need to own our own truth. And I've noticed that through my life as I own my truth more, I grow and I expand more and I become more knowledgeable and I become more loving and I become less angry and I become more tolerant and I become more patient. And that's the journey that we're on. And that's why I wanted to start this podcast, this show. It's not even a podcast. It's just almost like a video diary of ways that I can share my raw truth with you. You guys can share your truth with me. And we can begin having these discussions openly and honestly about the things that we're scared of, the things that we're uncertain of, the things we have questions about. Millions and millions and millions of us are walking around every day wondering and thinking, oh, what does that person think? Or what should I do about this? And all these different things. And then, you know, we just forget to be honest with ourselves. And that's really the critical thing about, you know, the situations that are going on around the world. I think that's a wake-up call for us to really kind of take this time and realize that this is something we all asked for in a way. We're all here at the same time for some purpose. And why not make that purpose to really, you know, take things and turn them around in our own personal lives and in the lives around us. Prior to the situation we have with the rioting, with the protesting and everything else, you know, with COVID, I was encouraging people to take this time to grow and to go inside and figure out what it is that you want to do, what your new normal wants to be. And, you know, it's the same thing now. It's like, but on a bigger and a deeper level. Admittedly, this is the second, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. I've been talking a lot lately. You know, originally I was not going to tackle this subject. I was not going to tackle high profile things. I don't get into politics. I don't get into news. I don't get into those things. I'm about positivity and motivation and getting you to the next level. That's who I am. And I had to sit there and take a really big, deep inner look at myself and say, okay, Chris, you know, is this a fight you're up for? Is this something that you're willing to risk your reputation or risk, you know, possibly offending people or pissing people off or what? And the God's honest truth, if you guys have coached with me before, if you guys follow me before, you know, one of the biggest things that I talk about is your legacy. You know, if you know where you're going, then you know, you figure out the plan backwards, how to get there. And my legacy, I wrote back in 2008, and it says this, that Christopher Rausch will have fought for what was right and what was fair. He will have risked for which that mattered, and he will have left the earth a better place for who he was and what he did. And that's the God's honest truth. So when I was thinking about what was going on, I was getting angry, but I did not want to go and deal with it. I did not want to go and peek behind the door and see how messed up things really were. And that's admittedly, you know, I asked on the show the other night when I was interviewing Raquel, which is an amazing interview. If you haven't seen it, go back and check it. It was a Tuesday night show. Phenomenal interview. You know, when I was thinking, shit, I just lost my thought. Raquel, I have a lot on my mind. I seriously do. There's so many things I wanted to say. I actually went out and I took a car drive and just turned on some nutty music. I turned on old 80s pop music. And I was like, I got to get my brain out of all this stuff because there's so many different things going on. That's why I keep losing track of what it is that I want to talk about, because it's like, oh yeah, don't forget to say that. But the point is, and number one, is all of it comes from my heart. And, you know, give people a break when they're talking from their heart. You know, we're in a soundbite world where it's like, oh, they said that, or they said that. Look at the message from the heart. That's what I've talked with, you know, with some of my Black friends. I'm like, you know, what can I do? And he's like, just talk from your heart. Don't be afraid to ask things. Don't be afraid to have those conversations to understand deeper. And, you know, you just really have to figure out in life what it is that you're going to stand for. What is going to be your legacy? What is it going to be that drives you every single day, that makes you happy that you made an impact in this world? What are you going to stand for? You know, for me, when I looked at this, I was like, geez, you know, how can I be a hypocrite on my own legacy? And how can I be a hypocrite in my coaching if I'm not doing what I can do and what I'm meant here to do? And especially I've had to come to grips with this too, you know, white privilege and the fact that I have a voice and I have viewers and I have a platform that I can use that to be a greater force in the world. And my first thought was like, God, people are going to get upset with me. Da, 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 da. Of course, everything that we always do. But in the grand scheme of things, do you want to be worried about who's upset with you for a belief that you strongly hold in your heart and you're afraid to say it out loud? Or would you rather piss some people off that really aren't your friends anyway, because you're being fake and they're probably being fake too? See what I'm saying? So this is the time that I'm choosing to say, okay, I'm going to use my voice. I'm not going to worry about all the other ramifications, social media or things down the road. Oh, that's going to come back to bite you, Chris. If you ever go look for a job, they're going to see that you stood up for Black people and you stood up for Latino people and you stood up for everybody. Ooh, okay, then that's not meant to be. That's not my future anyway. That's not where I'm going. That's where I was. And thank God, because quite honestly, back then I had to censor myself. I couldn't be political. I couldn't do those things for, retribution of what it might bring to me in my job, but I'm not there anymore. And I understand if you are, but at the same time, you have to decide what's a bigger purpose, what's a bigger mission in your life, living just for the moment to moment or making an impact and standing up and really getting involved in what it is that we can do to change this around together. When I was driving, it was crazy. And thank you guys all for being here. I don't have my glasses on, so I can't see anything, but I'm going to look at the comments later. I'm just going to try to focus on this and just free flow into whatever's coming up. But I was just driving and I was thinking, and I thought to myself the other day, what can I do? What can I do aside from what I'm doing here and reaching out to my friends? And I've got people reaching out to me now from Monday night's interview that want to come on and be on a show. Thank you, Raquel, for, I think it was Raquel. Yeah. She knows somebody's husband who is a cop. And so we were gonna have a conversation with him. We're having the conversation tomorrow night, by the way, Friday Night Live. Oh my God. You want to talk about an interview or conversation of that's going to be epic proportions? That one's going to be off the hook. But anyway, fuck, I did it again. Sorry. My apologies. About having that bigger purpose, and standing up and just having those conversations. But it occurred to me, it's like, what can we do? Got it back. Get better at it. I was waiting to go into the gas station, and that's the crazy thing. I haven't put gas in my truck in months. I don't even know. And I was like, I just want to go out and be normal for a minute. I took a normal drive, went in the gas station. But my point is, there was somebody that was going to go into the pumps before me, or they were way behind. And I was like, you know what? There's no other pumps. I'm going to let that person just go ahead and have that pump. I'm not in a hurry, And as they pulled in, I waved and I just said, hey, you know what? And they just stopped. They just stopped and they went, thank you. And that was a cool thing. It didn't take me anything, but it was just a cool moment in time where we just kind of connected eyes and we're like, thank you. I'm looking out for you. You're looking out for me. If you don't need this spot, maybe I'm in a hurry, think about those things, and another thing we can do is when you're walking by someone, even in a mall or down the street, we should all do this no matter who it is. And just simply say, hi, have a good day. Just hi, have a good day. Maybe if you don't even want to smile. Those are the ways we could start connecting. Smile, connect, ask people to coffee, go to lunch, expand your network of friends, have more different diversities over for dinner and do different things and go to different cultural events, and I'm raising my hand on these things, guys. I'm raising my hand on these things that we need to do a better job of this together to unify the world, to bring the world better. When you think about all the different groups out there and, Trump supporters, these supporters, those, this belief system, that belief system, how many of us, within our group, if we were in our group, we'd say, hi, what's going on? We're passing each other on the street. We could almost have the same life and the same beliefs, and we're not even connecting with each other in person. A lot of this stuff is on social media. I was on Eric Swanson's show yesterday for a brief minute, and we were talking about returning to the speaking world and what that's going to be like and kind of freaking out about that. But, you just have to really consider everything in its whole and what we can do to make the world a better place. I posted something yesterday. I can't remember the name of it right now, but it's a website where it says, what can I do? Or something like that. And it's all addressed for white people, what we could do, so you can go out there and search, you can understand, you can get more informed, you can take risks. It upsets me that we have to get to that point where sometimes we have to let people go in our life because of our belief systems are different. But at the same time, if you've already invested that much and you already like that person that much, both of you guys have a conversation and say, listen, I really want to understand why you support Trump. I really want to understand why you thought Hillary was the best. I want to understand why you think gays can't be married. Dig into those conversations and really understand why, because most likely you're going to find it goes back to your childhood. It goes back to some belief system that somebody put in you that is not correct. It is not accurate. They told you to judge people in a certain way based on the way they looked. Oh, that person's fat. Oh, that person's black. That person's short. Oh my God, watch out for midgets, watch out for tall people. We were given all these judgments because, honestly, if you guys have kids, I would love to know how many of your kids came home and was racist. Where does that come from? They don't know that. I watch my son play with all sorts of different nationalities. I love it. It's like this little sack of marbles. Everybody's just running around, just crazy, all different colors. It's awesome. I don't know where they get that from, but maybe if we have those adult conversations and we say something. People are surprised sometimes at me by the way I look. They think I'm some sort of, macho redneck biker, some guy. And I know I look like that. And sometimes I have to take that. But at the same time, get to know somebody. Most people don't know that I grew up in Inglewood, California, and Los Angeles. For the first 6 years of my life, all my friends were black. No joke. My first best friend was named Tyrone. No joke. 110th Street. You can Google it. Go to Google Maps, 110th Street, right there, that little bitty street, Inglewood, California, in the house. So don't judge people by the way they look. Judge them by what's in their heart. Judge by what's hidden behind some pain that causes them to lash out because somebody's different. What does that mindset say? Where is your confidence that you're like, oh my God, those people are this? Where does that come from? Why do you live in that state? Why not live in a state of happiness? As my buddy Scott talks about, love. This is a time for love. This is a time for compassion. This is a time for really saying, okay, what is important? What is most important in your life? What is most important for your life? Right now, the most important thing in my life, God's honest truth, is trying to make sure that this world is a half-ass decent place and probably a kick-ass place for my son to grow up in and to raise his kids. What better legacy can you think about on your deathbed that you went, holy crap, in 2020, I stood up and went, no fucking more. I'm going to go to local town hall meetings. I'm going to vote. I'm going to go out there and figure out what my candidate's really about. I'm going to figure out what their history is on convictions of police officers, whatever it might be. You see, we sit there and we go, oh, I vote and I do these things. I'm raising my hand again. What initiative was that? I fucking don't remember. I probably looked at the headlines and went, okay, that makes sense. Some of them are easy, but some of them are very convoluted. And do we take the time to pick it apart to really understand? No, we go on our preferred website that gives us all our truths and go, blah, 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 blah. See, that prop is stupid. They said so. And that's an opinion. My wife pointed it out earlier today that, some people make mistake opinions for facts. We got to be careful that, I saw this piece on the, time.com and it was an op-ed piece. It was an opinion. And that's what they said. Did that person check their facts? Really dig deep and think about this time. Be honest with yourself. I have an assortment of friends that I'm so blessed with. And quite honestly, I have not done a great job of getting to know more about their culture than I already have. And so we need to start doing that. We need to realize that we are all one and that we all want the same things in life. And maybe some of us were just really fucked up as kids, and that's how we turned out, and that's all we know. And that's all we surrounded ourselves with. You think about the tribe mentality. If you grow up in a particular demographic in a particular part of the world under particular circumstances with particular belief systems that were poured into your heart, don't you think you might have a particular mindset that's not fucking right and not know it? Let that sink in for a second. I often think about my mom and all the different things she did and all the different things I went through. And it pissed me off. Honestly, it was like, you're a fucking adult, you're smart, all these things, you should have, taken care of me better. You should have put me first and all these different things. And I held that anger for a long time. And then I was like, you know what, let me walk in her shoes for a minute. It still doesn't make it wrong or right. Cause yes, she could have made different choices. However, the little kid in all of us, every single one of us has this little kid. And some of you guys who've coached with me know what that means and what we talk about with that, where it goes. But we have this little kid. My mom used to always say she was 4 years old. I could never understand. I'm like, Mom, you're fucking adult. Shut up. Act like one, will you? She said, I'm 4 years old. I'm 4 years old. That was a screaming cry from her little girl to say, I need help, that I grew up in some fucked up situations. And maybe that's why I'm screwed up. And she got screwed up because she went to books and she thought, oh, that's right. And she started making things right. And she started doing her own puzzles in her head and she created her own identity so that she would be invincible and nothing would ever happen to her. And she could be the large in charge person. And that got her nowhere. That got her a lonely death. That got her a lonely life. She impacted some people and she stood tall in who she was and what she stood for, which I respect. And I'm respecting that more now in my own position as a parent. We just got to think about that, really dig deep into your heart and soul and figure out this is a time. This is a time for all of us. The things that are going on around the globe. Normally I would be like, okay, this is another one of those situations and it sucks. And God, we've got to do something about it. But my heart exploded when I saw that Brazil and England and all these, and did you see Paris, France? I posted this morning. The entire world, it gives me chills. The entire world is going, no, 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 no. We're all doing that. And can you imagine the people that are COVID compromised? You know, all the other guys, I mean, they probably once said, let's see, should I fight for people's rights or should I be worried about getting sick? And I know that's a careful statement, but you understand where I'm coming from. Just imagine how big these things would be if the other people could go. We would go, but we have a situation here with my mother-in-law. We can't go. Otherwise, I would be out there. I'd be filming it. I'd be asking people questions. I'd be out there right with it. But there's certain sacrifices I have to make. But just look at the amount of people that are gathering together and having these conversations. Like I said, Scott and I both have very similar hearts and minds, and we've been just talking a little bit about it. And I said, why don't we bottle this up and put it on a show and just show two white guys talking about shit that we need to learn more about and bring on Black guests and talk about that and actually ask those questions. Do you prefer Black or do you prefer African-American? You know, there's all these different things we're afraid to ask and we're afraid to understand. And that's the beauty, is all you do have to do is have a conversation. But the most important thing out of that conversation, ladies and gentlemen, these things, listen. I mean, I coach on this stuff. It's like most people have selective hearing disorder. Oh, I heard this. Oh, what do I got to do tomorrow? I'm going to do that. What did you say? Oh, yeah. Oh, I think you said this. Oh, God, I'm embarrassed. I wasn't paying attention. I'm just going to assume what I thought, and I'm just going to keep that for myself as my truth. Instead of just saying, you know, I'm sorry, I wasn't paying attention. I keep doing that. I'm sorry. I really want to listen and understand. So I'm just going to sit here and stare at you. So tell me what it is. Can you imagine if we started doing more of that? And more importantly than that, if we listen and we really listen, the best part, the bonus, the cherry on the cake is when you say back to somebody, you know what? Thank you for sharing with me. You know, here's what I got of what you just shared with me, that it has been a difficult path and you've gone through these experiences and they've created these beliefs, and it scares you when you get pulled over, and you say that back to somebody. What does that do? What does that do? That validates their heart. That validates the fact that you actually fucking care. How many times do you say, hey, how you doing? And they start telling you and you're like halfway down the hall. When I ask somebody how they're doing, I stop and I listen. You know, what does it take? A minute, 2 minutes? But just imagine if we all started doing that with one another. All these protests, all these people coming together. Just imagine if we all just said hi to each other. What's your interest? What are you up to? Hey, maybe we could do this. Maybe we could do this. Hey, I want to start a club that talks about these issues. I want to start a club that talks about these issues. I had somebody message me today about, well, what about human trafficking? What about this? And what about that? You know, right now I'm focused on this. This is my focus right now. And I said, those are great subjects too. I'm not sure I want to dive down those rabbit holes, but quite possibly I might. So yes, they're important too. All of these issues are important. And it's just the fact that you got to put your biases aside. You got to put, you know, everything aside and just really think about, you know, the human experience that we're having here and how we can make it a better experience versus pointing fingers and blaming and holding on to our truths that we think. You know, I challenge people on both sides. Like if you listen to MSNBC, go watch Fox for a week and really listen and look at what it is they're doing, and vice versa. Most people go, oh no, I'm not doing that. That shit's batshit crazy. I'm like, so you're just getting your truth right here, but your truth is right here. You know, they say the truth will set you free. It does. When you start being more honest and congruent with yourself, there's a magic that happens. I'm experiencing it. I was in a 26-year career. I'm no longer in it. I'm happy. I'm stoked. Here I am in my studio talking to you guys, impacting people, changing lives. It's awesome. You're honest with yourself. Own the bandana, own the swearing, own the rock star thing. You know, I was telling somebody earlier, I'm like, don't be afraid to fly your freak flag. And I'm kind of going to go off in a little bit of tangent, but it all ties together. Whatever it is and whoever you are and whatever it is you believe in, at least for me, depending on what it is, as long as I don't have to see it or smell it or taste it or whatever it is, go for it. If it makes you happy, go for it. You know, so many people today that I have talked to in the last couple of months during COVID and everything else on these free coaching calls that I'm offering, most of it, you know, amounts to the fact that people are just continuing to punish themselves by, oh yeah, I'm like, how long have you hated your job? 10 years. How much effort have you put into finding another job? Most of the time I hear none, or yeah, but I'm this old, or I'm this. Okay. So you're choosing to be miserable to go to a job. What do you suppose is going to change? And they're like, what do you suppose is going to change? What's stopping you from doing what you want to do today? What's stopping you from being who you want to be today? Well, my husband wouldn't think it's cool, or I get crap from my sister, or my family might leave me because I changed, you know, religions, or I, you know, changed political affiliations, whatever it might be. And I'm like, so when are you going to start living for you? Ooh, did that hurt? I hope so. When are you going to start living for you? When are you going to stop punishing yourself? When are you going to fly your freak flag and say, hey, this is the group I belong to? I belong to this group. We shouldn't really have any groups anyway, but I understand it a lot more than I ever did, because part of me, just seriously, honest, raw truth with Christopher Rausch, part of me wants to say, just split the United States down the middle. You guys could be over there. There's a big brick wall. There's your wall, Trump. And the rest of us are all going to be over here with rainbows and unicorns and talking about great things and having a good time and treating each other with respect and love and boosting each other up and talking about what's right in the world and making a difference in where we can with people who need it. Is that so bad? But no, I'm one of those grand believers. It's like, this is the time in the history books 40 years from now where they're going to look back on this and they're going to say, holy shit, those guys went through something and they made a big fucking difference. And I think I said that before, but that's what I'm holding on to. You know, I was talking to somebody yesterday who filled my head full of a bunch of stuff I didn't want to hear. I'm very empathic, gave me a lot of facts, gave me a lot of things to think about. But guess what? The end result is we're fucked. And I choose not to think that way. I choose not to act that way. I choose to live my life congruently until the day that I die, that I'm going to fight for what's right and what's fair. And I'm not going to worry about shit that I have no control over it necessarily. You know, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And the important thing is how we respond to that and how we band together and we figure out how we're going to survive, how we're going to get through it, and how we're going to change it. That's what being kick-ass is about. That's what being unstoppable is about, is getting up when you're bruised and you're torn and you're bleeding and you're trying to figure things out. Keep going. You know, when we think about what our best is bullshit. Our best. I mean, I've studied David Goggins and the Iron Cowboy guy, all these different people, and they just keep going. And I'm like, how do you keep going? And like, because I have a big enough why. I was just talking to Leanne yesterday. We were talking about whys, and I'm like, go for it. You know, do that shit. Figure out people's whys. That's awesome. You know, so I ask you, what is your why? What is your purpose? What is your legacy? What is it that you want to leave behind? What is it that you want to leave behind? What is it you want to be remembered for? What do you want your kids to see you do right now? What demonstration do you want to take your kids to? What do you want to teach them about this life? I remember going to protests with my mom when I was a little kid. Like, what the fuck's going on? All these tall people around me with signs. I think she was boycotting something with Cesar Chavez. My mom was right in there in the activism. I mean, she was in the Hispanic community doing all these stuff. I grew up all around it. One of her boyfriends, can't remember his name, he taught me how to ride a bicycle. He was a Hispanic guy, Mexican guy, however you want to say it. Can't remember his name now. Fuck, that's scary. But anyways, I just wanted to come to you for a little bit. I can't see. It's like 22 minutes we've been talking. So you know what? Let's see if I can see anything. I don't know if you guys have any questions, but I'm going to go back and look through those. Honestly, I'm pretty fried. But a couple of things I want to say in closing is thank you so much for the new friend request, for the new introductions, for the request to have the calls with me. You know, if you want one of those, let me know. I'll send you a link. You click it. We talk for 45 minutes to an hour. You walk away with something that helps you get that much further in your life. And we build a friendship. We build a relationship. That's it. Ask the people that have done it. You know, if you need somebody to talk to, if you need a platform to get out what's on your mind and you want to have a discussion with it, hit me up. Let's do that. Let's do that. I'm game. Maybe I'll get a different perspective. Maybe I'll get a severe headache and I'll cut you off the show. I can do that on the host. I'm just kidding. You know, we got to have a little levity, right, guys? You know, whatever it is that you need to help heal and to grow stronger from this. That's what we have to do. The focus shouldn't be on what Netflix show you're watching. The focus should be on your legacy. And what are you going to do with the rest of your years? Because they're clicking by. Tomorrow's already Friday. It's like, what? It's already June. Half of 2020 is already over. I thought COVID would be done by June and we'd get back to normal. Guess what? Who knows? By the way, there is no normal. There's only the moments that you create in your life in that moment. So don't spend them thinking about what was. Don't think about what might be. Just be in the moment with your family and your friends and grow those relationships and make those memories and take those pictures and make those videos and play those games and have those moments. I can't control what's going to happen tomorrow, Saturday. The world could blow up by Saturday. But guess what? Between now and then, I'm going to have a good fucking time. And I'm going to leave a legacy. So finally, tomorrow night, like I said, Friday Night Live, tomorrow, Scott Goyette, we're going to be 5:00 Pacific Standard Time. We're going to be talking with a bunch of different individuals. We're going to kind of be bringing them in and talking to them about their experiences, about how we can learn, about how we can grow together, about how we can understand each other. It's going to be a very candid, raw, and vulnerable conversation. I can guarantee you. Very emotional, I'm sure. You know, there's been a lot of emotions in our lives anyways. Recently. So, you know, I encourage you to share it. If it's something that resonates with you, share it so we can heal together and perhaps other people will feel comfortable in having more conversations. And perhaps Scott and I can just help bridge that in your lives too. So we really love you to be there. If you're obviously on my Facebook profile, you can scroll down, you can get the reminder and it reminds you. And tomorrow's show is going to be off the hook. It's going to be something that I'm going to be certainly proud of, as I am from the interview I did on Tuesday with Raquel. It's just a movement in time. It's a movement in my legacy. It's a movement in courage. It's a movement in certainly being uncomfortable. I mean, holy crap. I just want to be the raw guy. I don't want to be the guy that has to dig into stuff that, has been going on for hundreds of years, necessarily, but that's a new aspect of my life. I just show up for it. And that's what's saying to do right now. So that's what I do. So I encourage you guys to be that way. Live in the moments, treat each other with courteous respect, hold the doors open, say hi to somebody, wave to them, do something nice. Raquel was talking about how she creates a card and says, I love you, and puts 2 kisses and gives them to random people. Put a random card on somebody's windshield and say, hey man, have a great day. Just be a part of the solution. Don't be a part of the problem. I love you guys. Thank you so much. My voice is getting raspy and it's time for my little man to get up, but I will definitely read all the comments. And just again, thank you so much for everything that you do and everything you are. Stay kick-ass, stay unstoppable. We got this one moment at a time. And I just want to tell you guys, I love you very, very much, and be good to each other. All right. Peace.